The country coming in at the number 10 spot is Switzerland. Switzerland has a score of 1.366, and in the year 2022, of course this current year, Switzerland is ranked 5th in safety and security in that category, which is one spot lower than it was in 2019. Now, over the previous 5 years, Switzerland, along with several other peaceful countries, has constantly ranked among the top 10 in terms of weapons exports per capita. Switzerland fortunately ranks 4th in the world in terms of food security and is one of the 10 most peaceful countries in terms of ongoing domestic and international conflict. So yes, these countries are ranked in various different categories, but I'm just listing them predominantly based off of the overall rating. But throughout this episode, I may be mentioning where they rank in certain specific categories. With that said, let's move on to number 9, Japan. Japan is the 9th safest country in the world. It has been in the top 10 list for the last 13 years. The country received high marks in the Global Peace Index for low crime rates, internal strife, and political terror. Concerns include Japan's strained relation with its neighbors, as well as the country's self-defense forces' growing size and power. Japan is well known for its strict immigration policies and restrictions on gun ownership. As of 2020, Tokyo, Japan is considered the safest city in the world according to the Economist Intelligence Unit's Safe Cities Index. From there, let's look at Czech Republic coming in at the number 8 spot. In the year 2019, Czech Republic was ranked number 10, but now it has got the number 8 spot. Throughout these years, crime rates have declined in this country, especially when it comes to serious crimes. Despite the country's relatively easy access to weapons, terror issues also has a minor impact on Czech Republic. Now, the drop in rankings is attributed to the country's relatively heavy involvement in international conflicts, a high ratio of convicts per capita, and the evaluation of security forces and its police forces. Number 7 leads us to Singapore. According to the Gallup poll of 2018, Singapore is the place where people enjoy the highest sense of personal security. Even with minor offenses in the country, the culprits face really hard consequences. Guns are under government control, and this city-state is also the world's 2nd safest metropolis, according to the Economist Intelligence Unit's Safe Cities Index, or the EIU. Singapore came in 1st place for infrastructure security, and 2nd place for personal security, and 7th place for health security. The safest country in at the number 6 spot is Canada. Of course, Canada had to be on this list. According to the Global Peace Index, Canada, yes, is 6th when it comes to being safe. It's been at this position since 2019, and the country got exceptionally high marks for internal disputes as well as crime levels and political stability. In addition to plentiful job opportunities as well as easy access to healthcare and having an efficient government structure, well, Canada has some of the world's friendliest people. And as somebody who lives in Canada, you're definitely gonna meet some very friendly people. Almost a little too friendly. Like sometimes they'll say sorry to you if you were the one that accidentally bumped into them. Like it's your fault, but they're apologizing. Oh, Canadians. But yeah, definitely Canadians will be friendly to you, but sometimes will definitely talk behind your back, even though they've been polite to your face. Halfway in at number 5, we have the country of Denmark. Denmark was one of 24 countries that had a reduction in terror threat impact in the year 2019. Now, attacks in Denmark can't be fully ruled out according to the FCO, but the country also has the autonomous territory of Greenland under its dominion, and Greenland is not connected to Denmark. It's a massive island country, so it makes Denmark a more attractive place when it comes to being a country that you want to be in if World War III actually happens. Next up, we have Austria. Austria unfortunately fell 1 place from the previous report. However, according to the UK Foreign Exchange and Commonwealth Office, just under 1 million British nationalists visit Austria every single year, and that number goes into the millions if you look at the visitors it has from other countries. And most of those visits, yep, people didn't experience any trouble at all. And when it comes to attacks on Austria, well, they can't be ruled out either. That's how they're classified. The country at number 3 is Portugal. Portugal has risen 2 spots from the previous report, and the country was officially neutral during World War II and has kept out of most foreign conflicts. Now, Portugal is one of the countries that has shown the largest improvement in positive peace since the year 2013, and this is according to the Global Peace Index. Number 2 brings us New Zealand. New Zealand, which has come in second place for the past 2 years actually. It maintained or improved its scores in 22 areas. However, it did see a decline in the impact of attacks because of the March 15, 2019 attack on 2 mosques in Christchurch. Now, improvements in 5 other areas though helped New Zealand maintain its rank as the second most peaceful country in the entire world. And of course, at number 1, it's Iceland. Iceland again. Yeah, this country, honestly, it's been the number 1 most peaceful country forever, and also the safest country. Like, really, it's an island country. It shares the borders with no other country, so of course it makes it a very safe option for protection. According to the GPI, half of the countries in Europe, which is considered to be the world's most peaceful nation, have deteriorated in peacefulness since the year 2008. Iceland, on the other hand, is the only Nordic country that is more peaceful now than it was in 2008.
Alright, up at number 10 we have Saudi Arabia. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is an Arab country located in Western Asia and constituting most of the Arab Peninsula. Although the country offers fabulous Red Sea beaches, remarkable museums, and tantalizing restaurants, it is a religious destination that reigns supreme. Saudi Arabia is home to Mecca, the most important Islamic destination in the world, thus attracting millions of pilgrims. Although renowned for its oil, Saudi Arabia is investing more in tourism. For the very first time in the country's history, tourist visas were actually granted in 2013. Alright, up next we have Kuwait. Kuwait is a country that has often been well known for being rich in oil as well. Kuwait City is the capital of the country and is famous for its modern architecture. Travelers can enjoy views of modern-day skyscrapers as well as ancient, beautifully built mosques, so it truly is a mix of modern and ancient times. One of the most visited destinations in Kuwait is the Kuwait Towers. This hospitable country is also home to Bayan Palace, the islands of Felaka, and the Grand Mosque of Kuwait. Fascinating history can be visited at the Kuwait National Museum. There are also plenty of hotels, amusement parks, and other interesting destinations to visit around the country. Moving on to Bahrain. Bahrain has a history to reflect on with pride. Boasting its own Formula One Grand Prix, a growing art and foodie scene heavily cross-pollinated by Manama's huge expat population, and a wealth of activities enjoyed on the azure waters surrounding this collection of islands, Bahrain will appear to travelers who seek an unpretentious yet confident country bearing all the hallmarks of a modern, wealthy Gulf nation. This multi-layered and multicultural destination is definitely one to consider. Up at number 7, we have Qatar. In just 40 years, this Gulf state has grown from one of the poorest countries in the Gulf to the richest in the world. Mainly functioning on oil and natural gas revenue, Qatar is developing at breakneck speeds, and everything from universities to shopping malls, 5-star hotels to football stadiums, of course, in preparation for the 2022 World Cup, and they are springing up along the desert floor. Many tourists visit the capital city of Doha. Other popular destinations are the Museum of Islamic Art, the Al Jassasiyah rock carvings, and the Zubara Fort. Up at number 6, we have Oman. Oman is an Arab country located on the southeastern coast of the Arabian Peninsula. The beauty of the emerald beaches, the rich Arab history in the ancient forts, the lush green mountains, unique wildlife, and endless deserts will give you an Arabian adventure unlike any other on the Gulf Coast. You will find local bazaars or souks filled with handicrafts, and the most famous item of Oman, frankincense. Kind-hearted, helpful, and law-abiding people add up to make this country a must-visit place.
With that said, we're moving on to the country at number 5. Switzerland. See what they got going on. There are very low levels of crimes in Switzerland. It's located in the heart of the European Union. Switzerland is a naturally beautiful, fascinating place as well. The country is known for its neutral behavior in regional as well as international global political issues. The country also has a strong diplomatic relation with many other countries around the world, and the authorities have also invested heavily in their people in providing them with great education as well as healthcare services and, a lot of employment benefits. Coming up next, we have the country of Austria. Now, we don't hear about this country too much, but it's a small landlocked country in South Central Europe. And Austria has also moved up on the list when it comes to being one of the most peaceful countries in the world. And that has a lot to do with its stance on certain international political issues. Austria is doing very well. There's no austerity, and it's not being blamed like a lot of its neighboring countries for not saving Europe. But either way, outside of that, Austria definitely has earned its spot on the list of most peaceful countries in the world. New Zealand is up next. Now, it has a very small percentage of its population that's in prison. It has limited military capability, and of course, it has strong relations with Australia. New Zealand is also one of the most unpolluted countries in the entire planet, and New Zealanders get a very generous leave benefits so that they have a lot of time to enjoy the landscapes as well as other attractions that the country has to offer. Now, this episode would not be complete if I didn't mention the country of Denmark. We've talked a lot about this country here on FTD Facts, but Denmark holds the second place in this episode as the most peaceful country in the world. So similar to New Zealand, Denmark and the rest of the North European countries consistently rank as the best when it comes to safety. Denmark is also the most peaceful nation on the continent of Europe. Taxation is high, but the money, of course, is well spent on making the Danish lifestyle really relaxed, well organized, and just all around great. But with that all said, it was not enough to come in at number 1 as the most peaceful country. That goes to Iceland. Apart from its crazy icy scenery, it's reported that Iceland has a 100% literacy rate and has a population of over 300,000 people. So of course, it's one of the most educated countries in the world. Icelanders are also known to be very tolerant towards minorities. So that of course is a huge plus. And also one of the best things that you'll find about Iceland is that its murder rates are very low. Only 1.8 per 100,000 of its population are murdered every single year. Of course, murders are practically non-existent. So no doubt that this country is a really safe place to live and overall a peaceful country. That's why it's number 1 in this episode.